Welcome, Prime Sports listeners, to not a podcast episode, but a little video three-part series of our predictions for La Liga, Serie A, and Premier League. Before we continue, let me welcome Nico to back from Italy.
Hi everyone. It's good to be back. Back to work and back to contributing to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And today we got, as Andre said, that three-part mini series, which is what a lot of people are looking forward to at the start of the year. It's just predictions on the top three leagues that we're covering. So do you want to continue with
Yes.
your intro?
So for this video, we're gonna be doing our La Liga prediction. We do want to let you guys know that the season did start already, like the first match day, but we did make these 2 weeks ago, so everything is by the book. No one's breaking any rules. Also, before we start, just want to let you guys know that stay tuned to the end of the episode. We'll have like information about our next episode and what's that going to be about. But yeah, who do you want to start, lad? You want me to start? Or you want you to start?
Um, you can do the honors.
All right. So we'll obviously start from the bottom. Uh, in 20th place in La Liga, I have Las Palmas. Let me do this. I'll read the three that I have because you'll see the three, and it doesn't make sense for me to take my time for each one. So for 20th,
Okay.
I see Las Palmas. 19th, I got Almeria, and 18th, I got Cadiz. Las Palmas last season they got as many wins as they got draws, which like won't regularly give you promotion with 18. So they had 18 wins, 18 draws, which is not really like crazy impressive, but they got the job done. They also haven't seen the first division for quite some time now. They were relegated in 2018, so this is like the first time we're seeing them in La Liga since then. Almeria, they've only been up for one season and they missed out on relegation last season by just 1 point. So like I feel like they kind of got lucky last year, so I put them in 19th. And then Cadiz is another team that narrowly dodged relegation, and they finished 14th with only 2 points above relegation as well. So 3 weak teams that I think that will be looking to keep their heads above water, and obviously only one of those teams are newly promoted though. So.
Yep. And if you're done with your three, I'm gonna let you guys know what I put. Do you have anything else to add?
No.
Okay. So in 20th place, I got Las Palmas. Now, before I get ahead with all these, I just want to put a disclaimer. I'm not like the biggest follower of La Liga, especially when it comes down to like the bottom positions and like newly promoted teams. So I had a bit of trouble making this list. I have to be honest with you guys. But
Also, they're
especially
the third biggest league in the world.
yeah. It's just like some of these teams I have no idea. Like especially like when you look at okay, so like I looked more into like the transfers of all these teams. And when you look at like the bottom half of the whole La Liga, not even looking at the newly promoted teams, like there was like no transfers. Like there was only a few and they were pretty average players. So there's not much to go on here. But anyway, I have 20th place Las Palmas made no sales or no they didn't buy any players.
Pure vibes.
So I just put them last. We got Granada 19th place. They actually bought a few players. They bought Villar from Roma and Vallejo from Real Madrid on loan.
Forgot
And
about that guy.
like they're a team that they have the potential to do pretty good based on like the few players that they bought. Now it is to be seen if those players will do good. If they do, maybe who knows, they can save themselves, but I put them 19th. There wasn't much to go on. And then Alves, I put 18th.
Alaves.
Sorry, Alaves. I put that just shows you.
La Liga merchant.
Yeah. I put him 18th. Again, didn't really have much to go on. I couldn't find any sales or any players bought that were actually like known players that anyone would like be able to say, like, oh yeah, I know that player. No offense to these teams as well. It's just I don't know. I
You're
don't know.
expecting them to sign like
No,
Pogba.
but like what am I going like if I look at a list of your transfers and sales and I see like no one that I've ever heard of, how do I make a prediction based off of that? You know
Pure
what I mean?
vibes.
Exactly.
So
All
you
right.
got the three teams that just promoted. They're going back down. See you later.
Send them send them back down. All right, what do you have for
All right.
your
So my next four that just avoid relegation, we got Alaves, Granada, Rayo Vallecano, and Mallorca.
uh,
I gotta say it right before people lose their heads.
yeah.
Alaves, or as you say, Alves. Uh,
I missed the A. Leave me alone.
blind. You're blind like Serie A referees, mate,
That I can agree
or
with.
their ability to use VAR.
Okay. That's for another episode.
Anyways, Alaves, why did I put them there? So they're able to gain promotion after one season in La Liga 2 with 19 wins. Before being relegated 2 years ago, Alaves would consistently finish like mid-table in La Liga, 10th, 11th. They weren't doing too bad. And then over the years, would position lower and lower until eventually being relegated. Uh, I think they'll find their spot back in Spanish football and avoid relegation. That's all I got for them. Granada staying in live in La Liga isn't anything new for them. Before they were relegated, they would regularly battle for relegation, but they would also keep their heads above water for consecutive seasons. So they'll be looking to end their inconsistent seasonal form and stay up. Rayo Vallecano, just their third consecutive season in La Liga now, and looking at their last two seasons, the results would suggest I placed them a couple spots higher. But I feel like their squad isn't as strong enough as the teams I placed above them. Like you said, a lot of these teams aren't making any signings and nothing really like crazy going on. Kind of keeping the same team. Everyone's just getting a little bit older. So I got them dropping a bit.
Mhm.
Mallorca in 14th, a club that when they are in the first division, they avoid relegation by like 1 or 2 points, or they just get flat out relegated. However, they had an impressive campaign last season, and that convinced me to put them a little bit higher than where they traditionally finish. So four teams that recently haven't been a staple to the first division, but I think they'll be able to scrape the surface, but stay above 18th place.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, solid picks. For me in 17th, I have Almeria,
Mm-hmm.
if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I fact checked it perfectly. Okay. So 17th place, Almeria. Um, there is something to be said about this pick because I'm pretty sure when I made these predictions, they still didn't sell this one player that I think is going to be a big game changer for them this season.
Who is it, lad?
He went to Atalanta actually for almost like 35 million, if I believe.
What the hell?
Uh, it was a big money signing. His name is, and I'm sorry if I mess it up, El Bilal Torre. El Bilal Torre. I'm pretty
Very
sure
good.
that's how you say it. He's a striker. He did really good for them last season, and Atalanta likes picking up all these youngsters that no one really knows about and then transforms them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you really helped them out last season to stay up because last season they came 17th and I'm putting them 17th again. But this was before I knew that they sold him. Maybe they might go down. Who knows? I don't know how crucial he's gonna be towards them staying up.
Yeah.
So that is to be seen if I screwed up that pick by making the prediction too early. 16th I got Cadiz. They sold a few players, nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They bought a player called Escalante. I'm pretty sure from Lazio. He's a center midfielder, not too old. He's like 25.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know much about him. Last year they came 14th, but I feel like some of the other teams got a bit better and they didn't really buy much, so I think I'm gonna bump them down a few spots. I'm gonna put
Yeah.
them 16th. Rayo Vallecano, I put 15th. Last year they got 11th. Same story for them. They didn't really do much. They sold Garcia, a young left back, to Real Madrid. I'm not sure if you heard about that, but
No.
he was pretty good for them. They didn't really buy much either, so I had to bump them down a few places compared to last year as well. And 14th place, I got Getafe. Same thing. They came 15th last year. They do have a pretty solid team though. Like they didn't sell anybody. They didn't really buy much. They bought like a few
Yeah.
young players. So I'm gonna put them around the same place. I don't really have much to go on there.
All these
And
teams pretty much have like budgets of like what, like 3 million.
yeah, like they're making 500K signings. So I don't like I don't really have much to go on.
Yeah.
I noticed that, like for example, Getafe, they were 15th last season. They kept pretty much the same team. I mean, you can't really get worse.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can get one spot better. I put them 14th.
Yeah. All right. You just finished mentioning Getafe. I have them 13, or I'll say that now. Getafe 13, Celta Vigo 12th, and Girona 11th. Getafe are funny because um they're very consistent in where they finish in La Liga. Like you just said, you're placing them 15th. They finished 15th 3 times in a row.
Yeah, yeah,
So like they're very consistent. This year I just have them slightly higher, just like I don't know, vibes, right? Gut
yeah,
feelings.
yeah.
Celta Vigo in 12th. They're a side that like heavily relied on Iago Aspas,
Hmm.
club legend. You would probably say the club legend. Know who else does Celta Vigo have going
Yeah,
for
that's the only player I knew from them.
them? And well, obviously he's getting older now. He's like mid 30s, I'd say at this point. So he's only getting older. The legs aren't moving like they did. So that's why I have them finishing just below mid-table.
That's fair.
And Girona, an impressive campaign straight out of promotion last season. They finished 10th. So their squad seems to be strengthening and maturing to the La Liga life. Therefore, I have them finishing in similar territory to last season.
In 13th, I have Girona.
Mm-hmm.
Um, gonna be honest, not sure why I'm just taking a wild guess with this one. I looked at their team again, like same discussion as the previous teams that I mentioned. Didn't change much. Sold one player though, Romeo. He got sold to Barca.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Uh, he actually looks pretty solid. Last year they came 10th. Since they sold him, I'm bumping them down a bit to 13th.
that's fair.
Mallorca is in 12th. They signed a guy named Morlanes, center midfielder. He looks pretty decent. They sold one player. His name is Kang Ying Lee. Not sure where they sold him to, but I know he sold for about 30 million. So
Oh
I
wow,
think I think he got sold somewhere in the Premier League, I'm pretty sure. I don't know too much about that.
big money for Girona.
So no. Mallorca.
Oh,
Mallorca.
sorry, Girona was Romeo. That's right.
Yeah. Last year they came ninth, and then same thing for them. I'm putting them 12th because they sold a pretty big player. Looks like La Liga's downsizing a little because
True, that is true.
even their mid-table teams, they're selling all their players to the Premier League. So
Losing quality.
yeah. And then 11th place, I put Valencia. They also don't really, they don't really change their team that much. They're kind
Yeah,
of like Sevilla. Like
yeah.
they had the same team for so long.
They're also not the team they used to be.
They bought a few players. Last season they did horrible. They came
Yeah,
16th.
they were like 2 points out of relegation.
Yeah, that was really bad. I think they're gonna do a lot better. I think it was just a really,
Yeah,
poor season. They probably started off really bad. Didn't really know why that happened, but hopefully it was for them. It was just I don't know, bad form or something.
yeah.
They did sell Musa to AC Milan. And I'm not sure if Cavani was on loan last season. I wasn't sure if he was playing for them, but they did sell him now. They
Oh,
sold him to Boca Juniors. Um, And yeah, so I put them 11th. Hopefully they don't do as bad as last season.
I put them one place above that. I put them 10th. I got Sevilla in ninth, and I got Osasuna in eighth.
Okay.
Valencia, like I said, they're a historic team in La Liga. Like for some reason recently they've just been dropping season after season. And it's
Mhm.
gotten to like yeah, here it is. It's gotten as low as 2 points outside of relegation last season. So they'll be hoping to break their current spell of disappointing campaigns, and I think they will. So I have them finishing
Mhm.
mid table. They used to be finishing like fifth, sixth, fourth sometimes. Same with Sevilla, who have a ninth, the Europa League merchants. They had a scare last season because they were around the relegation position for almost like all season long. So
Yeah.
late in the season, they were able to find their feet, string some wins together, push them up to 12. That's where they finished last year, and they'll be able to. I think they'll be able to finish around mid-table again as well.
Yeah.
And then also Osasuna, right outside of Conference League, a club that had a positive. They've been pretty positive over the last few seasons, improving each year. Last year, like I said, they found themselves qualifying for Europa League in that seventh position, so they had the chance to qualify for Europa League, and they're still doing that at the moment. This club hasn't even been in a European competition since 2007. So I think now that they have to deal with the European competition, it's gonna like take a hit a little bit in the league. So I think that's why they'll just take a small hit domestically and finish one place below.
Mhm.
So those are three teams that I think like I wouldn't be surprised to see them qualify for Europe with like the quality that they have, like even the history of Sevilla and Valencia as well. But I
Yeah.
think the teams above just hold a little bit more quality.
Yeah. And in this area, I completely agree with you. In 10th place, I put Celta Vigo. They bought Bamba from Lille, which is actually a pretty good pickup because he came for free. And they bought Perez from Roma, if I'm not mistaken. He's a right winger. He played on Roma. He actually came from Barca, and he's still pretty young, so he's a pretty decent player. I saw him play a couple times. He could definitely add some quality to that team. They didn't really sell much, so they're keeping kind of the same team. They came 13th last year, so I'm putting them 10th now just because they brought in a bit more quality, especially on the wings.
Mhm.
And then with eighth and ninth, honestly, they could easily switch places because these two teams literally changed nothing compared to all the other teams. If you thought the bottom of the table was bad, like these two teams changed absolutely nothing. So number nine, I have uh Atletico Bilbao.
Mhm.
Uh, Last year they came eighth. I'm bumping them down once because the teams above got a bit more quality. They stayed the same. I'm putting them down. And then in eighth place, I put Osasuna. They came seventh last year, as you said. They got the Conference League, and they're gonna be busy with that, so it might, you know, put them back a little in the league.
Yeah.
That's why I put them eighth. Also, yeah, they stayed the same team. They didn't really sell or buy anyone, so just bump them down once.
So did every like team other than them at least like do something?
They did a few moves. Like these two teams did a few things too, but it was like
Not even worth it.
it wasn't even worth mentioning. They were like 100, 200K signings. Like
Oh
few of them
wow.
were free signings that they weren't even playing in professional teams before. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So now
move
we
on
go
to
to the three
the
teams that
big
are
boys.
just out of top four.
Yeah,
Like you said, the big boys now.
yeah.
So I have you just said they did nothing, but I have Athletic Bilbao.
Okay.
And I honestly don't really know why, but when I looked at their team, they kind of like, and I saw their squad value is kind of a little bit higher than like some of these other teams. Um, Qualifying for Conference League, is what I think they'll do. They're a team that's been like in La Liga for countless years now, and they've always finished like, well, recently they've been finishing mid-table and above.
Mhm.
I don't think seventh is unrealistic for them. And also, the last time they qualified for Europe, I should say, was 2018. And I think they'll do it again this year. Villarreal in sixth place. Also, Real Betis in fifth place. I should have mentioned those in order before. Villarreal. It's difficult to imagine Villarreal not making Europe with the squad that they have and their recent success in La Liga. The loss of Pau Torres might affect them a little bit, but I still have strong belief in them for making Europa League. And Real Betis, same story, a solid squad with a mix of experienced and young players, and always competing for Europe. No surprises there.
For me, I have number 7, Betis. I
Mhm.
put Betis there because they did sell a few players. They sold Canales, they sold Gonzalez, 2 pretty good players that they had on the team. They
Yeah.
did bring in a few players though. Last year they came 6th. I put them 7th because I mean, I think the other teams above them have a bit more quality. But there is to be said, and I'll get to that in 1 second, because first I have to say number 6, I put Real Sociedad. They brought in Andre
That's
Silva.
pretty low for them.
They brought in Andre Silva, and that's pretty much it.
That's a good
Last year,
bringing, though.
last year they came 4th. They're pretty good. I would have honestly, like looking back on it now, I would maybe put them 5th
Okay.
because at the time that I made these predictions, I didn't see that Villarreal got rid of all these players that they did. I put Villarreal's 5th,
Yeah.
and I think I screwed up because
So you would have
they
switched
got
them?
yeah. I've definitely like looking back on it now since we already made the predictions. I'm leaving it,
Yeah.
but I would definitely switch the two. I would even maybe put Villarreal 7th. I think they lost a lot. They lost Pau Torres, Jackson, Dia,
All
who
right. Yeah.
not a lot of people really know Dia, but he went to Salernitana last season on loan, and now they bought him. Dunyama or Danyuma, I don't know, I don't really know how to say his name, and Chuck Weesey
Oh, shit.
went to Milan. So
Oh, I didn't realize how many players they lost.
they lost a lot, and I feel like an idiot putting them 5th. They picked up Gabia, who's a young defender on Milan. They got him on loan, and they got Sorloth. Um, not really special players. So they lost a lot, and they didn't really gain much. So yeah, I feel like an idiot putting them 5th now, but
I would have put them a little lower, maybe too. That's
I would
okay.
have put them 7th, but it is what it is.
If we get them right, we'll look like geniuses.
Exactly. Even though we're already saying that it's not gonna be like that, but whatever.
All right, top four. Top four of La Liga. Uh,
Yeah.
actually, I should say my top four is exactly the same as they finished uh, last season.
Okay.
So in fourth, I got Sociedad. Third, I got Atletico. Second, Real Madrid. First, Barcelona. So let's talk about Sociedad. You said they would finish. Well, you want them to be fifth,
Yeah. No, 6th.
but
Oh,
but you were saying you
no.
would switch them, right?
Yeah, I would. I would.
Okay. Well, Sociedad has finished in European spot for 4 consecutive seasons now, so I feel like there's no reason why they won't do it again. Um, they're now in the Champions League for the first time since 2013. I think they'll qualify again. Third, Atletico Madrid. The third position may as well be called the Atletico position because
Yeah.
it feels like every year they'll finish third, apart from like the odd year that they actually win the league.
Mhm.
So following that tradition, I have them finishing third again. Second, I got Real Madrid. They were runners up last year. I think that'll happen again this year. I feel like that missing striker that we talked about before is just a key piece that will affect them as the season goes on, especially with like Champions Leagues. Like sometimes you need to rest your players. They don't even have a striker to rest. They don't. So we'll see how
Yeah.
that plays out. And then Barcelona, I got them winning the league, and I just think Barca has some quality youth, great coach, great squad depth. They have all the ingredients to win the league once again. So yeah, exact same top four as last season, but we'll see if history repeats itself, as they often say.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. For me, I put Sevilla 4th. They didn't
Oh,
really buy.
bold.
Yeah, I put Sevilla 4th. They didn't really buy much, but they do have a good team. I don't know why they struggled so much last year.
Yeah.
They have a pretty solid team. They have good experience. They came 12th last year. They did win the Europa League, and they came close to winning the Super Cup
Yeah.
against City. So
That's
I'm
right.
not putting it past them to come at least 4th. They have a good team. Like if you can go toe to toe with Man City, you have a good team.
That's a fair point.
So I put them 4th. Third place, as you said, Atletico. It's their home.
Yeah.
That third place is their home. They brought in Soinchu. Is that how you say his name?
Oh,
Defender.
center back
Uh,
from Leicester.
yeah. Soinchu, I think. Aspilicueta, and they officially signed Griezmann from Barca.
Yeah.
But they did lose Cunha, Lodi, and Kundogbia, who I think are pretty good players that might cost them third place. Who knows? Maybe Sevilla might pass them.
They lose their home.
They were some pretty solid players, so I don't know. Well, I put them third just because that's where they usually finish,
Yeah.
and it's better to be safe.
Can't
Um,
break tradition.
yeah. Second place, I put Barca. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Go plead your
Dembele,
case.
Dembele is gonna cost them a lot unless they find someone to replace him. He was really
What do
good.
they
He
have?
was,
Rafinha and then
and
Ansu.
Rafinha
Oh
wasn't
no,
very good.
Ansu
Rafinha
Fati
wasn't
is
very.
injured, isn't he?
No, he's not. But he's not a right winger, is he? He's a left winger,
Left
no?
winger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Um,
I think Real Madrid's missing strikers way more uh like worse
I
than
don't
that.
know. I feel like Real Madrid have a lot more quality around the team to compensate for the striker, as opposed to Barca. They also lost Cassier, who he's not a
Was bad
huge
anyway.
he's not a huge loss, but he was still a good, player to come off the bench and help them out.
True. Yeah.
They bought Romeo, who I talked about before. He actually looks pretty good. I saw him in preseason. He looks pretty solid, very clean player, the way he plays.
Yeah.
And they bought Gundogan.
Oh
Um,
right, yeah. Forgot about him, yeah.
so adding a bit of quality, which is always great for Barca. And
This
then
is
for
funny because you're a Barca guy and I'm more of a Real Madrid guy.
yeah. And I put Real Madrid first. I think they have way too much quality. They brought in Jude Bellingham, who is an amazing player.
World
The few
class.
games that I saw him so far, like he's been amazing, absolutely amazing. They got Goulet, who, yeah, he got injured, but he's a very great prospect for the future. Like
Yeah.
the way he moves and plays is incredible.
Could be a top three player.
Yeah, I really wanted him on Milan, so I was really salty when he went to Real Madrid.
He wouldn't
But
reach
it's
his full potential there anyway.
okay. Calm down. And then after Guler, we got Kepa, who they brought in to replace Courtois because we all saw that he got that ACL injury.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going
That's a
on with
good
them.
you think that's a good loan pickup for them, or you think they could have done better?
I think it's not bad. Like it's definitely okay for their circumstances.
That's true. Yeah, that's
They were
very
going to be
fair.
left without a keeper, so I would take Kepa over nothing.
Yeah.
And then they brought in Garcia, who I also talked about before, young left back, Spanish. He can do really good for them. So yeah, I put him first place. I think they're missing a keeper. Sorry, they're missing the striker,
Yeah.
which it's pretty big. They lost
Yo,
Benzema.
Selu. He didn't score a nice preseason goal though.
Yeah, they lost Asensio and they lost Hazard, who wasn't really much for
Who?
them. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think, they still won the Spanish Cup last year. Barca won the Super Cup if I'm not mistaken.
I think
Um
so, yeah.
so they're neck and neck, Barca and Real Madrid. It could go either way, but I'm putting Real Madrid ahead and then we'll see what happens.
Right. We'll put up both the predictions on screen for you right now. Just let us know in the comments who you think had a better prediction. You want to close us off, Nico, and talk about our next like actual episode?
Yeah, so for our next, you're talking about the podcast?
Yeah, yeah.
So for the next podcast episode, we're gonna have an episode just dedicated to the Saudi Arabian League, who we all know is blowing up right now. It's going crazy, and it needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
So that will be our next episode. It will probably be out around Monday or Tuesday, depending on how we do on time.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as our next episode with predictions, stay tuned because we're gonna release an episode on Serie A as well as Premier League, which is what everyone's probably waiting for.
Mhm.
So yeah, stay tuned. Those will be coming out right after this episode comes out. And yeah, thanks for listening to us ramble on.
Mhm.
And we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye,
Alrighty.
everyone.